Well, it appears to be 8 o'clock. This appears to be the Talon Games Twitch channel. So that would mean probably this might be Mad Dog Mondays. Hobby time, hangout time, silly time with James. Welcome, everybody. Turn on some music here just a little bit. Something going in the background so I remember to keep talking. I hope everybody's doing well tonight. It's a cold night in Oklahoma. We actually had some snow this week, which is a very rare thing in northeastern Oklahoma. I mean, we might get a smattering, but an accumulation of more than an inch is super, super rare. So that was made for a fun Sunday. Got to hang in and hobby most of the day. Made me pretty happy. Speaking of hobby, tonight I think what I'm working on, I don't know what you're working on, but what I'm working on continues to be these self-propelled guns, which we made a little bit of progress on. I made a little bit of progress on. The others got some of the camouflage started on them, got a little bit of the tracks blacked out, not quite all the way. Just a little bit of progress. Hopefully this week I'll finish these guys up and get to move on to my next cav project, which I think is going to be Merdude. Damp in Florida. Welcome in, Merdude. Nice to see you. Yeah, it's, I mean, you know, obviously mixture of rain and snow here in Oklahoma. Very, very unusual, but it's kind of welcome. It's nice to see for a change of pace, and it was good that I'm off for the rest of the year, so I don't have to worry about traveling in it or anything except for a couple of errands, Christmassy stuff, things like that. Hope everybody's doing well out there, staying safe, playing with your cav models, having a good time. So, like I said, I'm going to work on these guys a little bit tonight. But I was thinking this week, I was watching Dave C. over on the Discord channel and in Facebook post up pictures of his Cobra, which he's painting up for the Misdeeds Freebooters, which is the fan-made pirate faction that we're creating over on Discord. Join us over on Discord. I'll post up a link here in just a second for those that might be interested. And come over there and read what we're doing, contribute, make your own cav, make your own pilot, tell your own story. Completely unofficial, but also completely fun. So, I mean, those two things kind of go hand in hand, I believe. Let me see what I can do here. Pop this back open. See if this is going to work. There's a link to the Discord. Like I said, come over there and see what's going on. Make your own pilot, tell your own story, hang out with the rest of us, figure out what Mad Dog is doing in his crazy modified Simba. So yeah, this is, I think, the next project on the table after I get done with the self-propelled guns is I'm going to start working on Mad Dog's captured Simba. As I said, Mad Dog is mad about turrets. He loves changing out the turret on his Simba. It's probably his most favorite thing to do in the world. So I magnetized this light-guided missile turret that I made with some third-party bits from Red Dog Games, I believe is the name of the site. And I made some other turrets, which this is probably rockets, like over-the-top anime crazy volume of rockets. I've got this written up somewhere. I'll have to go double check and see what the stats were. But needless to say, it was rockets in the morning, rockets in the afternoon, rockets in the evening. Rocking a lot of rockets there. Then here's another turret I've got for this guy. Slap that on there. Not sure what this one, I don't think I've written this one up yet. And I need to adjust it a little bit. But this is a 3D printed piece that Sparks made for me a while back. Yeah. Dude, I apologize. I don't know who I've told this story to or not. But when I was putting this thing together, it occurred to me that a screw would allow me to change the elevation. So, like, for instance, this magnet, I want this turret to sit a little bit lower, so I can run the magnet in to get it to sit down further. I don't know if you can see that. Angle it right there. But see, now that wouldn't work for this turret. They don't really make contact. The magnet's holding them together, but there's no physical contact there. So for things that don't have as much reach, I just run the screw back up a little bit and drop that right there. And now, well magnetized. Yeah. If I unscrew it, does the feet fall off? No, the feet are super glued on, John. The instructions that came with the model specifically said to super glue it on. Yeah, I'm glad you like that, Mayor Dude. Yeah, it's just a thing. Boy, I tell you what, this turret is still wet. I don't know what its deal is. I think it's melting. It's probably not going to survive. And then, so here's a smaller printout of the same thing. I'm not sure which one I like better. I haven't magnetized this one yet, but anyway, just the idea of, I just want this particular cav to have a lot of turret options. I'm probably going to build some more. Yep, Sparks, that's your baby there. I honestly, I don't think I ever got a printout that did the file justice. At the time, I didn't really know anybody with a very good printer, and so I got this one done. It's really ugly on the bottom, so I'm not going to show you the bottom. But yeah, I think it looks pretty decent on there. Again, I need to run this in a little deeper to make this particular turret work. But yeah, I think that works pretty good. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to paint this guy up yet. Oh, so one of the things we decided in the Discord over there. Oh, you like the bigger one, Mayor Dude? Yeah, it does sort of fit the scale of the, of the Simba. The Simba's a gigantic thing, but when you get right down to it in cav terms, this turret is monstrous. Hold on a second. So here's this Kodiak, right? This is a giant 12 DT cav, and this turret is probably, I don't know, maybe Mad Dog is compensating for something. I don't know, maybe. Who knows? But yeah, the idea is in the context of the story, for whatever Mad Dog's personal insanity is, he really likes to optimize his Simba, and so he changes out turrets. This is probably my favorite one. I think this one kind of fits the look the best. And this is just essentially multiple light-guided missiles. I'm not sure quite what the write-up is. It was a bunch of them, enough so that salvo fire was a particularly useful thing. And of course, I'm pretty sure I gave it tag and all kinds of things. I've posted the data cards that I made up in the construction program over in the Discord, the Freebooters channel. So hop over there if you like. Follow that link I posted earlier, and you can check that out. See what other people are doing. I know last week Cthulhu came in and started talking about making some sort of like super turbocharged armadillo that was going to go so fast it could fly. And of course, Schmitty, who hasn't appeared tonight, he's just full of really unique ideas. His contributions were they were out in the periphery, to say the least. Hey Gimli, nice to see you. So yeah, I was just showing off the next project I'm going to tackle here on Mad Dog Mondays. Still got these SPGs I'm working on, but I think I'm going to get this painted up so we can try and move the pirate faction along. I'm pretty sure I'm going to paint this leg right here red. That's the for those of you who might not know. When we were discussing what paint scheme to use for the pirate faction, there are a lot of ideas, and instead of really imposing something on somebody that they didn't want, or trying to come up with some sort of really complicated paint scheme that a newbie at who just picked up a cav at a paint and take couldn't do, we decided that to be a member of Misdeeds Freebooters, the pirate faction, all you have to do is paint your leg red. The rest of it can look any way you want. So as long as your leg is red, you're good. If you don't have a leg, if you're a tank or something, just paint your turret or your command space or whatever your vehicle happens to have red, and you're a member of Misdeeds Pirates. So yeah, next on my list, I gotta decide what I'm gonna do besides red, because there's a lot of options here. I'm really tempted. Again, that one turret is just weeping today for some reason. I may have to get that one reprinted. Anyway, this thing has got so much surface space on it. I really want to do some freehand. Like, I don't know, maybe some kind of dragon is what everybody leans to. I would really love to do some sort of complicated, twisty Chinese dragon thing across the top of here, but I don't know. I haven't made up my mind yet. I still got time. But yeah, something along those lines. All right. Corporate spawn. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Cthulhu, you have got the right idea. Because, what corporation wouldn't want to sponsor a group of out there periphery pirates? So really what I think you're saying is you found a bunch of... what is that show they have where the guys go around and buy old stuff? The Pickers or something like that, a show where they go around and they go through people's old barns and buy like ancient signs. So Cthulhu, the way I see it is you've just found a bunch of Burger King like highway signs that you've bolted to the outside of your armadillo as armor, because that's what we got to work with, right? And so it looks like you're sponsored by Burger King and Coke or whatever the corporate equivalents are in the far-flung future. I'm guessing you guys can hear me all right? I never know because there's no feedback here, but the sound's all right. A Kraken or a dragonfly up in Red Bull Racing colors with a red wing. Yeah, absolutely. That's what we're talking about, right? So this is not it's a fun idea, not a serious idea. So just, have a great time. And like I said, the great part about it is just paint a part of your vehicle red and then do whatever else you want. And you are a member of Misdeeds Freebooters, whether you want to be or not. And I can just see some story where some pilot in a legitimate cav that happens to have a red leg, is being chased down by the authorities because they think he's affiliated with the pirates. I think there's a ton of potential in this story. Maybe enough potential to actually write up some crazy fun times. And of course, when we get to meet together at a convention again, we will definitely have to, I don't know what kind of game we're going to play if we're all members of the Freebooters, but we'll have to find some way to do it. Nothing else, we could just sit around and tell big whoppers about all the things our pirate faction has accomplished, even though probably they're whoppers. Bada bing, that's a callback to the Burger King thing, in case you didn't know. Professional comedy here. Perfect for launching an armadillo. Yeah. And so now I want you to have some sort of over-the-top anime, like rocket engine strapped to the back of your armadillo. Paint them up with like they're powering up, really super bright, whatever color, blue, or like the nacelles on the back of a Star Destroyer as it's accelerating in Star Wars, something along those lines. I think that would be fantastic. Played by Cav Boss. Yeah, absolutely, sure. Because playing Cav Boss is fantastic. I enjoyed it. I've done it a couple of times now. Had a great time. The problem is, if there's ever a rules dispute, chances are you're not going to win. Because he invented the rules. Or he invents them. Not quite sure which way to call that. Don't tell him I said that. He's surely not listening. But yeah. Just in case there might be a new person out there being quiet and just listening, I just want to remind everybody, this is definitely not a show about painting or anything like that. This is just people, guys, ladies, hanging out on Twitch, just the way you would in your local shop, getting together on a Saturday afternoon to paint. Obviously, it's not Saturday. telling a story here. Just to get together and paint models and talk about, what's going on and, what your plans are, what kind of list you're making up, just that kind of stuff. This is more just a hobby hangout session. If you want to learn how to paint, I can give you some Twitch streamers to go follow. But they are not named me. Well, they probably are, but they're not currently named me because I'm me. So, the holiday seasons are upon us. And I don't know about you, but I, for once, am ahead of the curve. I've got most of my holiday chores done. There's only a couple of things that I'm waiting on to arrive via that big brown truck or the red and blue one, whichever one they decide to ship them on. And as long as they show up before the 25th, I should be good to go. There's probably no way you can really see it. Nah, it's not. I'm not going to bother. Like I said, this is not a hobby stream. After I painted these guys black, or as I was painting the black, I watered down some of the paint once by accident. So I had a lot of water in my brush, and I realized I liked the way that looked better than the solid black. So my goal here is to go in and paint these black, and then paint metal and maybe some rust color and whatnot over the context of the running structure, right? But I actually found that the orange color that got oversprayed by the airbrush, when I painted diluted black over the top of it, I kind of liked the way the orange shone through the really thin black. But it's kind of too late for that. I've already painted up all the others just solid black, so I'm just going to follow that pattern. I think Mr. Wapple calls that pre-glazing. James Wapple, fantastic painter here on Twitch, one of my favorites, guy I've been watching a ton of lately. If you get a chance, you should definitely follow that guy.
Yes, be quiet.
Hey, hold on a second. My wife is playing with the Google system in our house and talking during my stream. It's kind of funny. I think that might make a great show. One of those comedy shows where people don't really understand how technology works. So you hook up all this stuff in your house, and all the comedic things that you wouldn't normally share with people get shared by accident. I feel like there's a story there. Some sort of a pilot comedy series. Yes, Mrs. Meredith. She's a hoot. I love her to death. She and I stayed up late last night on the couch watching Batman animated movies that we hadn't seen before. We watched Batman Hush, and then we watched Batman Bad Blood. And when we're done here, we're going to watch Under the Red Hood. There are a lot of animated Batman movies that I have accidentally missed over the years, and I've got all this free time, and like I said, for once I actually have my holiday activity chore thingies mostly done, so I am chilling out and doing fun things with the missus. She and I have been married for a very long time, and she and I have a ton in common. In fact, last night we also worked on miniatures together. She and I are painting some Reaper miniatures up for their little league. Reaper started up this, it's not even a competition, it's just sort of a self-challenge league where you earn some points by doing things and posting them over in their Discord, and she was really excited by that. So she and I started working on assembling our models, getting ready for the January launch of that. Again, I'm not sure what to call it. I guess league is the best way to call it. Makes me think that's something that we might want to do. There's a chance that this fall there might actually be live conventions, things that we could really go to, maybe get together and play. And so it might be a good thing. I have no idea what you just posted, Cow Boss. I have no idea either. Yeah. Anyway, so there's a chance that there might be a physical CavCon this year, and if there is, maybe we could get together and do some sort of painting league, again, not competition, to help everybody get their army painted for the for the CAV tournament. That would be fantastic. I would be happy to experiment with that. I need to get something painted up for the virtual one that's going to happen in March. I don't know if you're aware, but John is going to host another virtual CavCon in March. I believe it's March. Correct me if I'm wrong, Cav Boss. And I need to figure out a force. I want to play like all Banshees or something silly like that, but you know me, I'm just silly anyway. All right, now where did my paints go? You would think you get ready for a show, you know what you're going to do. You would actually get the paints out that you need and have them ready, but that would require professionalism. It's the sound of shaking paint. Some Stynylrez primer. That's what I use here for this white, just to keep it simple. So I'm going to put some of this out on my palette and clean up these triangles. All right, get these guys out of the way. So when I do this, well, first of all, I'm not super good at this. I should have used something different. But when I did these little triangle patterns, I mostly cut it out of this just super low-tack yellow paint tape. The sort of thing you would mark off your windowsill with when you go to paint the wall or something like that. It turns out it's really it doesn't stick enough. And so the problem is, then you get things like this, where the corner, where this thing's kind of thin or color sprayed underneath it because the triangle didn't stick very hard. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go in and I'm just going to reinforce these triangles. Strengthen them up, clean up their edges, clean up their lines. Demonstrate to you guys that I have no idea where the camera is because I forget to put the miniature underneath it. It's like Cav Boss is doing something complicated, but I really don't know what it is. For those of you who missed it, Cav Boss made a post over on the Discord. He may have mirrored onto Facebook. Perhaps, I'm not 100% sure, but he's going to talk on Wednesday, I think, if I understood him correctly. He's going to talk about some upcoming changes, potential changes to the rules for the game. Hold on, I'm adjusting this lighting here. It just doesn't seem to be quite where I want it. See if I can get this to cooperate a little better. All right. So yeah, something about maybe changing the numbers required to hit in the range bands and cleaning up the wording for what it means to stand still and the penalties associated with it with your model on the table. Look pretty interesting. You definitely want to, if you get a chance, you definitely want to wow, Cav, you're just going crazy. Cat Boss. Tune in on Wednesday night, 8 o'clock Central Standard Time. Me and Cav Boss will be talking, mostly Cav apparently. Mr. Boss will be talking about his upcoming changes, potential changes to the rules, some things that you might want to go out there and mess with, experiment with if you get a chance to actually play a game. That should be interesting. It's always, I'm always curious to see the thinking that game developers have, and especially John, because he's so accessible. He will literally share his thoughts with you and put himself out there where anybody that's interested in Cav can literally ask him any question you want. I mean, Cav is a great game, but the fact that the game designer is available to customers on a regular basis is pretty freaking awesome. There's only a few other companies I know that do that, and none of them to the degree that Cav does. So we're blessed in a number of ways. Again, there are cameras in the center of the table. What's that line from Ender's Game? The enemy's gate is down. The camera's in the center of the table. So Cav Boss, you're distributing emotes. You've like created some emotes for the channel. Is that what you're saying? I am not aware of what is happening here. Not entirely. Concentrating because, trying to stay in the lines. I got my tongue hanging out. I got my toes crossed. I got all that stuff going on. Gimli. That's just it's disturbing. Apparently, that Cyberpunk game has a problem with stuff like that. From what I've heard, I haven't actually had a chance to play it yet, but apparently, there's been some clipping issues with their the skins that they put on those models, and yeah, I saw some of the pictures, and I was like, that is problematic. Surely to goodness that wasn't planned. Yeah. Cat Boss uses a different account for that. That would be that Bloody Lemming account, isn't it? Just teasing. That's Chris's. That's the sculptor's account. Speaking of sculpting, Mr. Lewis was working on an updated version of the Ryoshi, which I believe is that a Terran tank? I'm not sure what faction the Ryoshi is, but it's a tank that its model's a little showing its age maybe a little bit. So he's going to clean that up for us, get us an updated version of that out where we can all enjoy it. Part of the fun thing about these triangles is I don't have to actually be 1,000% precise, because what I'm going to do is I'm just going to outline them in black. And I kind of enjoy the primitive look of them, which is my way of saying I'm not sure I can do any better than that. So that's what we're going to get stuck with. Plus this is just a fun unit. I'll try a little bit harder on the Simba that I'm going to work on for my character. By the way, my character in the Freebooters, his name is Mad Dog. Now, don't ask me why I got named Mad Dog. John made it up. I'm neither mad nor particularly canine, but that's my nickname apparently. So I'm just leaning into it. Why not? Leaning into it. Plus, Mad lets me do crazy things. Like I said, my guy changes his turret like 2 or 3 times probably before a battle. Can't make up his mind. Commander says, make sure you bring something with direct fire, and he shows up with this thing. He's not necessarily the best employee. I don't think his review went very well this year. Probably they don't really have reviews in Misdeeds Pirates. But you never know. I think that would be funny too. Maybe Misdeed is like some sort of escaped, lady accountant who's, like sort of lost it and gone rogue and pirate. And now, she leads this band of crazy periphery pirates who also, she does like cost accounting and end of year reviews for. Just seems funny to me. Just seems funny. All right, good enough for you, buddy. Next. John is conducting stream experiments, but good for him. So what sort of hobby projects do you guys have going on? I mean, it doesn't have to be Cav. We're allowed to talk about other things on this channel, I think. What are you working on? What do you have in mind? What are you hoping to get for Christmas? What are you giving yourself for Christmas? Not sure what the Christmas hotness is. I know it's right after Christmas. I'm looking forward to some Marvel Crisis Protocol releases. The She-Hulk is coming out in that game, and that's my other favorite game. I have two miniature games, Cav and Marvel Crisis Protocol. I'm very excited for that release. But we shouldn't talk about that, John. He'll ban me or something. Can you tell us what that mini is, Gimli? I see them talking about those painting contests, but I don't ever enter them because, I'm just not my cup of tea. First box of Gotham City Chronicles. Now, is that a board game, Gimli? Avatar of Rage. Okay, I think I'm familiar with that model. The Batman thing, is that a board game? Angry Hippo Man. Yeah. I think I saw it over at our local comic/game store. And I was intrigued by it because I love all things Batman, but I didn't pick it up because, my God, I have so many other games that I've bought and never played. I was like, maybe I can let this one pass. Plus, apparently it has minis that I would need to think about painting, and then I wouldn't paint them, and then, like my time in purgatory would be extended after I perish because, there would just be that many more minis I didn't have finished when my time comes. So far, I have made my saving throw and not purchased that game. Other plays the bats. That seems like a good sort of game. I was interested in the Night Models game, the Batman game, which is more of a squad-based, tactical. It's like Cav with Batman, but those models, good God Almighty, those models are so rinky-dinky. I just couldn't be bothered. I bought a bunch of them, and then when I got them in, I was like, true scale. Miserable. So, they're sitting in a drawer somewhere. One Cav model primed. Any particular model, Mr. Gimli? What are we going to be seeing out of your production studio? All the white. I think I've got all the white done on this guy. Good enough. These models are, I like them just fine. Although I like them a lot, but I'm not trying to win any contests here. I'm just had an idea, trying to see it through to its completion. So I can put it on the shelf and go, ha! Here's a set of models that don't really exist in the game I want to play, so they will sit on the shelf and probably not get played, but by gosh, I finished them. Meh. A Spartan. Yeah, that's a good model. I like this Spartan. So last week, I told everybody that was listening, half of you, that Thursday we were going to do the Big Stompy podcast on the Twitch channel. But that turned out not to be true because we weren't as coordinated as we thought we were. And so that has been rescheduled, I believe, to this Thursday of this week at 8 p.m. Central Standard. The subject matter remains the same. Gosh, I hope so, because that's the only thing I'm prepared for. We're going to talk about El Mirathol. You're going to get the benefit of Todd and Ross hopefully breaking down a bunch of models, a bunch of Crusader. Okay, yeah, Crusader. Let me think. Is that the one with the 4 PPGs, kind of mounted up high? Thought I was done. I am not. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I like that model a lot. When I first got into Cav, the very first Cav tournament I went to, I played Templars. And so I had to hunt down, because there were very, very few Templar models at that point in time. I hunted down on the internet as many of those old metal models as I could get. And I managed to score a couple of Crusaders in metal before John redid them for us, thank goodness, in plastic. And they are downstairs in my... Hey, these models are actually painted case. They didn't do very well in my first CavCon. They did not survive contact with Ross Hines very well. But I had a great time. Met a person who's become my friend. And the next time I played them, which was a couple of years later, they were more successful. Thank goodness. Centurion. Gimli, are you the person that's been posting those blue Centurions? I cannot keep track of people's online screen names worth a darn. I've seen somebody posting some really good-looking blue Centurions. All right, so you're that guy. All right, well, your stuff is fantastic. Thank you very much for sharing that with us. Thank you. I'm going to throw my brush. I'm going to work on those green triangles. Do the same basic thing with them. Get a little green paint out here on the corner of my wet palette. You painted up like how many of those Centurions, Gimli? 4 of them? Yeah. That's my problem, right? I have the shiny squirrel problem. I want to chase after whatever the cool thing is. Like I said, I came back from the last time I visited John with this idea I was going to do these self-propelled guns, and here I am. I mean, doing them. But again, they're not even a model in the game. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I still have the exact same number of playable Cav models that I had when I started. So, I don't know. It's just the way I live my life. Don't judge me. You're not the boss of me. She's downstairs, but don't tell her I said that. I never admit that. I'm always telling her you're not the boss of me, and she says, yes, I am. And I go, oh yeah, you're right. 5 total Cavs painted up so far. 3 Templars and the 2 Dictators from the Learn to Play set. Well, you're doing fantastic. I, for one, like seeing your posts. Keep doing it. All right, so this green triangle is a little truncated by the white one. So try not to paint over the white. John is the boss of Cavs. Well, that's what his title says. Now, I often wonder about that, because I'm pretty sure somewhere in the world John has a boss. And I wonder how that affects his status as boss of Cavs. But I guess we don't need to dig into that. That's probably it. You can ask John that question at the bar after a long day of playing Cavs at the next CavCon. I hear John is very interested in playing Drunk Cav at some point in time. So if you ever get the chance, you ever hook up with him, ask him if he's ready to go, because he mentioned in our last Wednesday stream, Drunk Cav. I'm not sure I'm qualified to participate in that event, but Could be fun. Just painting away little triangles all day. I'd have to be so drunk to try and hook. Okay, that not as intended. Not. Come on, Gimli. I don't think that's quite what I meant, but you know, whatever. Drunk Cav is drunk Cav, right? Drunk Cav is drunk Cav. So there was an interesting question came up on the Discord server that I was earlier today that Gromlich and I ended up talking about just a little bit. And so the subject of tags came up. So it was really in the context of firing guided missiles. But I mean, the conversation came up, you know, about how to use tag to share, to allow other models in your force to fire guided missiles. So the thought was, you know, you take a special action, you paint the what happens on Drunk Cav Adventure State. Yes, sparks. I think that's a universal rule. Absolutely. So the thing with tag is you can take a special action if your model is equipped with a tag, and you can, with that special action, paint an enemy model with your tag, and that allows other models in your force, correct me, John, if it's limited to squad, but I think it's in your force, to fire their guided missiles at the target that you have painted with that tag. And so the question came up, you know, so what happens if another enemy model somehow, I'm not quite sure how this happens, but if another enemy model somehow ends up blocking line of sight to your original target, the one that you use the special action to paint with your tag. Something I had never thought of before. This is a weird corner case scenario, but what else do you talk about on Discord besides Drunk Cav? So the idea is here, you know, so you've got this, well, we've got actual Cav models. Let's grab actual Cav models. All right. So you've got Cav A. And I don't know, these guys don't have tags, I'm sure, probably, but we're just going to pretend, right? So you have Cav A paints Cav B with a tag. So there's a little laser pointer going from Cav A to Cav B, all right? If he does that with a special action, that allows other models in his unit to launch their guided missiles at Cav B without having a target lock. Okay? Now, so what happens if somehow in between him tagging Cav A, tagging Cav B, and some other, God bless, I'm dumb, I'm bad. Punch the camera. Some other Cav over here off the table takes an opportunity to fire at Cav B. What if this is Cav C, an enemy Cav to Cav A, he somehow gets in here and blocks your line of sight. So now the tag from A can no longer touch B. So that means you can no longer fire guided missiles without a target lock at Cav B because you don't have a tag touching it, basically feeding data back to it. And so before John came in and clarified the situation for us, in the rules, to the best of my knowledge, I don't think you can shoot this Cav. Even though the tag is touching him now, I don't think an off, you know, like some other model with guided missiles could target him because he wasn't the target of the original tag. You've never targeted him with a tag. But John clarified that for us, all right? He said that he would become an eligible target for anybody else in this guy's force that had a guided missile that was available to fire. So that was an interesting question that came up. We don't normally get into that sort of thing that deep. So I thought that was pretty curious, and it goes back to my earlier point where, it's just amazing the kind of like intimate, wrong word, sorry, bad word, immediate availability the designer of Cav has to his customers, to his audience. So never be afraid to reach out to John and say, hey, how does this work? Hey, can you clarify this for me? Hey, I don't know, some customer service issue, like my Spatha is, I don't know, got 3 barrels instead of 2. How do I fix this? John will help you out. And if you really do have a 3-barreled Spatha, just send it to me. I will pay you for it because I want to see it. Do 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 do. Singing along with this crazy music in the background. I don't know if you guys can hear it or not. It's just pretty cool. It's kind of Pink Panther-ish. It's not Pink Panther-ish because that would be copyrighted. But take care, Sparks. Nice for you to stick around. Have a good Australian rest of your day. Appreciate you hanging out with us. Try not to melt. Light red puma. Gimli? I'm not sure. Did I forget what we were talking about? What kind of light red puma are we talking about? Royalty-free Pink Panther names. I like it. Yeah, absolutely. The red glaze over white primer Panther. Reminds me of that post that Cthulhu made earlier. He said he was going to have his Miss Freebooter's armadillo covered in corporate logo stuff. Well, I mean, it seems obvious to me that the corporations of the Cav future are not actually putting advertising on the hull of pirates. I mean, even though I feel like we're not the, burn everything to the ground pirates, we're still pirates. We're coming in and taking things that probably don't belong to us. I don't think future Burger Cav is sending us royalty checks and stickers to put on the outside of our vehicles. In fact, I think that could be the main plot line. We do that, right? We pretend, we advertise like we are supported by them, and we're constantly fighting their security forces who are trying to bring us to, to terms, to make us take those things off, to destroy us or whatever, so that we're not giving them such bad publicity. I think that would be a hoot. That would be a funny way to portray misfortunes. Freebooters. So now you know the kind of dumb stuff that goes on in my head when I'm standing around painting by myself, basically. Uncivilized. All right. So now we need to start black lining a little bit of this stuff. Did I get... Oh, no, I still got some barrels to do. We'll do some blocking out first. Still got to paint the tips of these guns. Wet palms, as the case may be. Before we move on to the intricate job of trying to outline those silly triangles, which is really the process of painting some black, then painting some orange, then painting some black, then painting some orange, as I slowly, sort of like trying to back into a parallel parking spot and doing a bad job of it. That's what it's like for me to paint like an outline. Paint the outline, realize it's too thick, paint over the outline a little bit with the surrounding color. Then I realize I messed that up, so I come back in and have to rebuild part of the triangle and the black line and back and up and going back and doing it again and coming back. That's why it takes me forever to paint the models. That's why it takes forever for me to paint the models. Yeah, Gimli, I'm looking forward to it. Oh, I feel like I've asked you this question before. If I were to find you in the Reaper Facebook group, would you have the same sort of name structure that you have here? So I could identify your particular model? Ah, I see. All right. Well, when you're done with the competition, you can share with us, and we can see how your Avatar of Hate came out. Gimli, do you go to ReaperCon when it's live? Did you participate at all in the virtual ReaperCon? Right. That sounds pretty good. Those contests seem to me like they're pretty popular from what I can see. I'm excited by this painting league or whatever it is that they're calling it. Just encourage my wife to paint. She's actually a very, very hobby oriented woman. And she likes to paint miniatures and owns a ton of them. She has a Maldracar over here on the table behind me that she's working on slowly. But she goes in spits and spats, I think, like many people. It's not her main hobby, but she'll get into it. And so I'm hoping that this league will encourage her to come back. Because, I enjoy it when she and I share a hobby. And we do a ton of things together, but it's just nice to have a gamer wife who paints miniatures. It's pretty much the perfect scenario. Pretty much perfect for me. Yeah, so that's Gimli. There's a post up in the regular Reaper forums that you can find by John Overton. I'm not sure what his last name is, or you can see the Discord channels. But I think the rules for what guidelines maybe is the better word there, and the challenges that are available. I mean, there is a potential for a reward. Basically, throughout the course of the year, you accumulate points for achieving the goals that they set. It can be like paint with a limited color palette, paint a large model, paint a model with a friend, or with 2 friends. Anyway, things like that. So you submit your points, and then every quarter or year or something like that, they will do a raffle. And I guess you earn entries into the raffle based on the number of points that you've achieved. Anyway, I don't really care about that. But it is motivating. And when my wife heard about it, she was the one that led the charge. She's like, "Oh, I want to do this. I want us to paint together and do this. This there's this one achievement where 2 people have to paint the same miniature and submit it." And I was like, "Yes, sign me up." So we're gonna paint up one of the big winged demonic or devilish figures. I don't know its name. I'll have to look it up probably. But yeah, I was super excited by that. There's we both own a Maldrakar, so we've been tempted to try and paint them both up and submit them, but man, that is a big commitment. That is a big, big commitment. So we haven't quite bought into that yet. Yeah, I get it. It's a year-long thing, Gimli. I mean, I guess it resets every year. They plan to do it going forward. So, if you can't do it right now, join in later. Or, some of the... Yeah, Gimli. I don't know if you've ever messed with a Maldrakar, but so I helped her primer hers the first time around and then do some Zenithal with the airbrush on it for her. And she had spent, I don't know how many hours, a long time cleaning up the mold lines. And when we primered it and Zenithaled it, we were like, oh my God, look at the rest of these mold lines. And it's kind of sat there since then. So that's again, we haven't made that commitment yet because that is a gigantic adventure. But I want to paint one. I got one. So it's definitely in my wheelhouse. So I think we're probably going to try it. We're going to do this big, like I said, demon or devil lord or whatever it is. It's kind of I don't know, reminds me of just some of his features remind me of Skeletor a tiny little bit. But we're going to do him first and see how that goes. And then we may just commit to doing Maldrakar and make that our... I mean, if that's our accomplishment for the rest of the year, then it is what it is. Yeah, Gimli, painting a Maldrakar without an airbrush is insane. Hey, Hobby. Good to see you in here. Yeah, I've got that Dictator as well, and I'm excited for John to release the other. What is it, Starhawk or... I forget which one he's going to release next. I'm going to buy them all. Hopefully I'll get to paint them at some point. Hopefully. Yeah, so it's funny because there for a while on the Reaper forums it was a thing to paint Maldrakar using only a size 0 brush or 000. I don't know. It was something ridiculous, and it was like a challenge, right? And so there's a local guy here, plays Cav. His name is Ludo. If you've ever been to ReaperCon, I'm sure you've seen him. You may have met him. You may recognize the name. He runs their the paint and take and like the Sophie Says, which is it's like a Simon Says but for painting. He does a lot of things with the live ReaperCon, and so he painted one. He painted a Maldrakar, and there's a time limit. It's like a week or something. So he painted a Maldrakar with a size 0 brush in like 7 days. It was insane. It was like watching an old telethon. I mean, he was working on that thing almost 20... He took vacation to get it done. Let's put it like that. I miss Ludo. I haven't seen him in a while with the COVID stuff, but yeah, he's a crazy man, but it's the good kind of crazy. It's not my intention to paint Mao Drakar with a size 0 brush. That would be insane. All right, I'm going to wrap up this little bit of black right here and call it a night. It's 9 o'clock. Run through the list of cav things that are coming up behind me. So, believe tomorrow at 8 p.m., you're going to find Mr. Cavboss online at here on Twitch, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, working on some kind of terrain. I know he's been tinkering with that base for the Big Pyramid, I think. The piece of terrain that's going to sit on. This last thing I saw him working on. He'll be able to answer your questions and talk to you in an official capacity about all the cav stuff you could possibly want to talk about. Wednesday, 8 p.m. Central. I think there's a pattern here. John and I will be on, probably talking about these proposed rules changes that he listed over on the Discord. That'll hopefully be fun and exciting. 8 p.m. Central Standard, running for about an hour. And then I believe, I could be wrong. I was wrong last week, so it's entirely possible I could be wrong this week too. Thursday, 8 p.m. Central Standard, return of the Big Stompy podcast. Ross Hines, guest hosting he's the host, along with guest hosts Todd Farnholtz and Mr. Cavboss himself. We're going to talk a little bit about Almirethal. You're going to get to hear a little bit about their history, some minutia that I managed to pull out of John that I didn't know was I didn't really understand. I read the background, and then John and I talked about it a little bit, and he explained to me what this word meant in his meaning, and I'll explain that to you Thursday. And it meant a lot more than I thought it did. So it totally changed my understanding of the Aedenese Civil War. We'll talk a little bit about that. And then Ross and Todd, who are both fantastic players of the game Cav, we'll go through, 6, 8 or so different models, break them down for you, talk about what they like about them, what they don't like about them, a little bit of counterplay back and forth. Should be an interesting hour, maybe a little bit longer. That's our intention to do that show once a month, probably the third Thursday of the month, every month for a while, till we run out of things to talk about, or people tell us to shut up, which is likely to happen. Anyway, appreciate you hanging out with me here for an hour. Got a little bit of work done on these self-propelled guns. I'm going to try and finish these things offline so I can get to working on my Miss Freebooter's mech for Mad Dog. Get this thing going. Try and decide which turret I really want to put on this thing. How crazy is Mad Dog at the moment? What's going on in his life? Is he in the mood for direct fire? Is he shooting rockets? Is he guided missiles? Roll the dice. See what kind of day he has. All right. I appreciate you all joining me. Look forward to talking to you again on Wednesday. Have a good night. Be safe. Be good to each other. Live long and prosper.